And welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben and this is my review for Netflix's new German original limited series called King of Stonks. Had you heard about this? I certainly hadn't heard about this story at all, and I'm going into this thinking, will this be entertaining? Is it worth my while? And that's the question you should be asking yourself. But before you do that, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit up the chat box. I'll be chatting to everybody there. But for now, let's jump in. Felix Armand wants to be at the top because once he's there, he can finally be a decent human being. After all, he's the damn mastermind behind the most successful FinTech company of all time and of all Germany, the CableCash AG. So our story is centered on Felix Armand, who we get to understand how he started this company because through a series of flashbacks. Now, it is in German, and if you're watching subtitles, because I always suggest watching the original language, you're going to have a bit of a tough time in parts because you're going to have to read really quickly to keep up. It's one of those where multiple people are having conversations at the same time sometimes, and then so you have to read really quickly. I found it difficult in parts and had to pause. I spoke to Chris from Movies and Munchies. He had the same issue. So that's just kind of your top tip. If you don't mind dubbing, then you can listen to the dubs in this, although I did find the dubbing really hard to listen to, so I went back and I watched the original language and just read subtitles and paused when I had to. However, this series is very entertaining. I was surprised at the editing style. It's from the directors or the creators of How to Sell Drugs Online. So if you're used to that sort of editing style, fast-paced with tight dialogue, then that's kind of what you get in this series. Which is one of the things I was worried about when going into this series. Will it be entertaining? Because essentially it's about money laundering with an app. And that itself could be boring. If you just think about how are you going to show that and make it entertaining, really it's about the people in it. And because we have Felix's boss, who is the megalomaniac and just an absolute douchebag, no matter which way you look at it, there's no redeeming qualities to this character. For a moment, sometimes you think he might be a decent human being. Sometimes through flashbacks you go, oh, one time, and then he does something or says something and you realize, no, Felix is always going to go downhill. And so Felix fights for his app. He also fights to stay out of jail, and he fights for love. There's a love story in here that continues to go. And there were times when this story dragged, but I don't think you could take anything out of this series. Everything that the story is telling needs to be there. So by the time you get to the fruition of this storyline, and I'm not going to do spoilers, but let me just say I was very surprised by the ending. I expected to have a certain conclusion. It was not the conclusion I expected it to have. And if this is based on true story, then it is quite shocking of where the story ends up. But the way it's edited is fantastic. The character and the stories are very entertaining to watch. It is sometimes one of those that is so unbelievable and so ridiculous, but is true at the same time. So when you have that editing style, that interesting story, good acting, even the bad guys you really love to hate sort of characters, and then you kind of rooting for the Felix character, or you just want him to leave the company he's in because he's surrounded himself with douchebags, especially those on top. That doesn't happen, but there is some sort of redemption for your main protagonist. But for the most part, it's a one-time watch. There's a one completed story, which is a feather in its quiver. It's not going to outdraw or outstay its welcome. It's not going to come back for a second season. It's one story that needs to be told, unless that company or something happens with that story and then they come back, but I don't think that will happen. Very interesting, worth your while. If you like something different, then I would say stick this on. I'm going to give this 3.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. I thought the performances were strong. I thought the story was interesting. I thought the editing was excellent and kept me engaged, even though there was some slowness in it. But I wasn't expecting the story to go where it does, which is, I guess, another kind of tick in the right direction. Let me know your thoughts on this. Is this one you even thought about watching? I don't know that this is going to have a huge draw, that many people are going to look at this on Netflix and go, you know what, I'm going to try that one. But if you read the synopsis or watch my review, you might be interested enough to check it out. I think if you're not engaged by the first episode, then it's not going to be something that you're going to be interested in for the rest of the episodes. I was engaged by the first episodes, and that's kind of a good testing for a short series. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Do comment down below. I'll chat to you down there. But also, I have another 2 videos for you to choose. One there and one there.